Long ago, T. Nick made awesome content. Then, everything changed when coronavirus attacked. Only Avatar: The Last Airbender from 2005 could entertain people, but in 2008, it vanished, completed. 12 years passed, and a network discovered a new after show, a retro rewind of perfect TV. And although our panelists are remaining safe indoors, we have a lot of time remaining for isolation. But I believe this after show can save the world.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, AfterBuzzers! Welcome to the Last Airbender after show. What? I am your host, Alexis Torres. It's been a while. I know that all of you are like, what the heck is she doing here? But we're going to be talking about some really awesome stuff. We are starting at Book 1, Chapter 1, and Chapter 2. The Boy and the Iceberg and the Avatar Returns. Look at this awesome panel. I've got Earthbender, Gunner, Texera. What up, dude?
Hey everyone, I am the biggest fan of anything fantasy and supernatural, and Avatar is probably one of the first shows I ever really got into this genre, and I cannot wait to binge it with everyone.
And we have waterbender Elgin Ball, who I've heard from the grapevine that this might be his first watch through. What?
Yeah, I'm excited, but so far I'm just a little kid from the Water Tribe, so we'll see.
And the person you definitely don't want to mess with is Firebender Eric Jewell. What up, bro?
What's up, everybody? Yeah, I cannot wait to do a rewatch of this show. Also, little known fact about me that these guys on the panel don't know yet either. I was actually an extra in M. Night Shyamalan's version of The Last Airbender. So yeah, I'm super excited to get back into this world. I think this is going to be such a great rewatch, everybody.
Wait. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to start the show all over. Okay, bye everyone. No, just kidding. I'm really excited. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start from here besides asking a whole bunch of questions, but it's okay. For one thing, we are definitely going to be talking about just Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of Book 1 so far, mostly because Elgin is starting this whole thing. So no spoilers in the comments, friends.
Please.
No spoilers. Okay, we're only talking about that, but obviously a lot of us have seen it. I mean, the show has been out for what, 15 years now?
15 years.
So
Wow.
try your best. I know it's hard. Try your best to keep it all together, but we're mostly only going to be talking about 1 and 2. Okay, so let's get into it. And I promise we're not having midnight sun madness. It's just we're just getting into it. So, Chapter 1, The Boy and the Iceberg. How do we feel about this episode before we start really getting into it?
I think this is a really solid first episode. Right off the bat, you instantly meet two of the main characters with Sokka and Katara. You instantly know that they're siblings and they're going to be butting heads the whole time. And I really love that it just opens us on two siblings just bickering with each other. I'm like, oh, that's such an interesting way for this show to start about like a whole magical universe. And the first thing we see are just two siblings arguing like we would have in our like daily lives here.
Yeah. How about you, Gunner?
I think like even with that, I loved even the beginning intro to the very first episode, how it's different to episode 2, and that we have the like history. I like that was a well-developed info dump. It wasn't like we had a whole episode on it. It was simply just like, here's our world and here's what happened when the Fire Nation attacked. And like that just got you perfectly into the world and you know what is happening here.
And Elgin, be ready. We're probably going to be saying that a lot. The Fire Nation
Hell
attack
yeah.
throughout this entire recap, not just this episode, just as a whole.
Serious.
Yeah, like the whole series. I agree with you. I definitely think that having like the Katara Sokka aspect, also my man Sokka's back. Hey, is really awesome to see them. Because again, I like that you don't have like major exposure of like. We know that they're siblings, but we already know enough about them without having to get too much detail about like their relationship and their water tribe and what's going on. Elgin, how did you feel about seeing, I guess the Avatar coming out of the block of ice? Like that's my question. Like, did you think that was going to happen that way, or did you think it was going to be something more grand? Like, what did you think?
Yeah, that caught me off guard a little bit because I'm like, how can someone survive in an iceberg, I guess? Yeah, I don't know. It caught me off guard, but I really like the concept of someone being frozen for whatever amount of time, and just the way that
100
they
years.
kind of
100
introduced that
years.
character. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that was pretty cool. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can't wait.
What about we obviously get to meet our antagonist in this first episode right off the gate. I like to call him the person who yells throughout the entire series. We
Especially
have
season 1.
Yeah.
all of season 1 is just Zuko just yelling the entire time. So again, Elgin, be ready for that.
Okay.
That doesn't change.
Ever.
But how did we feel meeting him for the first time? Like, at least from like back then, like when I know that it will be hard because again, it's like 15 years ago. But
Mhm.
do you remember what your first thoughts were when you guys all met, like when Zuko came to the screen?
Yeah, I remember Zuko immediately. You already know he's supposed to be a bad guy because he has a giant scar on his face.
Of course.
And already he's also a firebender, who
Mhm.
inherently we're already going to think the firebenders are on the bad side regardless from the opening like title sequence of the episode. So especially getting this rewatch, like reintroducing Zuko is
Mhm.
just, it's so interesting seeing him and Iroh. I love how they still play off of each other.
Mhm.
Zuko is clearly a huge hot-headed teenager, and Iroh is the more calm, peaceful uncle who is clearly trying to steer Zuko down a good path and just help him get a nice, cool, level head on his shoulders.
Yeah, agreed. And it's also just really nice to have
Mhm.
just that dynamic of having that extremes of like not light and dark, but you know what I mean, like the fact that like General Iroh is very calming, and then you have Zuko who's just kind of like, I just want to get done now, which I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I won't go into details why, but I don't blame him. um but I just love that one, we get to know the fact that a lot of people didn't know that how old Aang was. Everyone kind of just assumed that he was from like 10 to 13 somewhere, but like he says in this episode that he's like, do I look 112 to you? So I
Mhm.
like that you're like, oh, 100 year okay. um, and so I thought that was really, really awesome that we got to do that. But I also feel like they also explained a lot in the first episode that like it was not to say that it was hard to follow, but I love that we were able to just like get the gist of the world, and then we're like, all right, you're in it, go. So um uh I was gonna say something and now I forgot, because Zuko Zuko's trap, or not Zuko's trap, but the trap in the boat really
In
threw
the
me off.
warship.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like I couldn't tell if that was at least with the animators and everything, like was that always going to be a thing, like just anybody who goes into there is just gonna raise the flare, or was that specifically for the Avatar?
Yeah, that's one
Dun, dun,
thing I
dun.
noticed on this rewatch. It was that also, if Zuko wasn't in the vicinity right there and then, and someone had just happened to trip over that wire, that flare would have gone off. Nothing would have happened.
Right.
The Water Tribe would have freaked out for a few days, just being like, "Oh crap! Like, is the Fire Nation going to come by?" But nothing would have happened. So there's a little bit of coincidence there, but I think we can let it slide for
My
this one.
goodness. I just thought it was so interesting because I was just like, what's the what? All right. What were you, what, Gunnar, what was your favorite part of the first episode? Like, favorite part of the entire thing?
I think for these first 2 episodes, I love just watching the like innocence and seeing that like Aang is just this 12-year-old boy who's just excited and happy and has no concept of what's happening, and like watching like, the fan, even kind of what he does, it does hit him. I mean, we obviously didn't hit him too hard, and he just like bounces back. He's like, okay, well, whatever. I can still go penguin sledding, and it's just like no big deal. And that's what I've always loved the most about Aang. Aang is such an optimist and such an optimistic hero. And we see that when that comes into conflict in a lot of different ways, but it's still like ever present. And you see that when he challenges other characters. I remember how much watching this now, I long for Zuko and I have much more admiration. But I remember when I first watched it, I was like, oh, he's a bad guy. He's a really easy bad guy villain that no one's gonna like. And that just is so like present with just his design, like how you say, like the scar and his design and like his yelling. It's just like, oh, this anything my 12-year-old self would have been like, yeah, that's the bad guy, no problem. Just a villain, easy, nothing more to him.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people in the chat so far already commenting on how often Zuko is saying honor and how he needs to restore his honor.
It's
and
so
yelling about
much.
it and yelling about it.
So much. Yeah, like I said, it's just about honor and screaming at the top of his lungs at the Avatar. He has to say the Avatar at least like 8 times per episode. It's insane to me. I do not understand. But it's, if you've been searching for the Avatar for as long as he has,
Makes a little sense.
Yeah.
Makes a little sense.
just a smidge. But in chapter 2, the Avatar returns. I did think it was interesting that Aang at first didn't tell anyone that he was the Avatar. But then obviously they figured out as time goes on, and obviously he gets banished right off the gate.
Mhm.
And we were like, yeah, all right, that makes sense. You brought destruction to their little tiny village. It makes sense. But I love when Zuko like arrives at the water tribe, that he's just like ready to go, and then poor Sokka's like, I'm gonna do this, and then just gets thrown into the snow. And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
you really
oh,
feel for Sokka here.
you always feel for Sokka. Well, that's actually not true.
Yeah, I don't.
Later on, but like in the beginning for sure, because I feel like Sokka is a very strong character, but definitely in the beginning he seems like the straight up goofball that like
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
know what he's
Mhm.
doing. But I also and Boomerang. We always gotta talk about
Ah.
Boomerang. He's the
Always
best.
comes back. Always comes
Boomerang,
back.
boomerang.
Always comes back. I did like, however. Oh, actually, Elgin, this is actually a better question. Did you think that Aang was going to surrender himself to the Fire Nation right off the gate?
Um, I don't think so, because
Mhm.
usually I feel like he's like this new character that doesn't have any strings of attachment to any of the other characters, so there
Mhm.
really isn't that responsibility um, to be present with anybody. So I kind of felt like he wouldn't have done that, but I guess he's the admirable character.
Hey man, I
So,
just want to pick your brain because when it happened, I was very upset. I was
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
no, table flip,
Mhm.
what's wrong with you? So that's why I asked. I'm always
Mhm.
intrigued.
Mhm.
But I do like that even though he did surrender himself for the sake of the village, that he still was able to get out, which I think that's my favorite scene out of both episodes, is him fighting Zuko and just slamming him with the mattress
Yes.
up and around. That
Bludgeoning
was
him with a
Just that
mattress.
whole ship fight is so good. He basically just took down this whole fleet, basically by running around like a
yeah.
12-year-old on sugar high.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah,
So true though.
it's so interesting to see how we see Katara at the beginning struggling with just doing some basic water bending
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
versus seeing Aang, who was a master airbender already, and
Mhm.
just how much of ease they can both, with how much ease he can do his element and how Katara struggles. It's just so interesting to see the dynamic between the two of them and how that will
Mhm.
progress.
It's gonna be so great to watch Katara's
Ugh.
journey again,
Hmm.
because that was rough for my first go around. I was like, gosh, she drives me crazy. Why is she
Yeah.
like this? And then yeah, eventually she gets better. So it's all good. Don't hate me for that. I'm just saying, as a child, I was like, why is she like this? I don't understand. Um, but I'm glad that they were able to get away. That they were. I'm also happy that Graham like was like, here's your stuff. Go explore my
Get out of
babies.
here.
Just do it,
She was so
and
willing to
everything.
let her grandchildren just
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
travel the globe with
yeah,
a stranger.
yeah.
It's the Avatar. He can do whatever he wants. They
You
can
can do
do
whatever
whatever
he wants. Yeah, they're like, oh, he's the only one that can bring peace and balance to our world. Yeah, you could go. Enjoy. Don't
Go
get
ahead.
kidnapped. But like, it was just, I like that. I thought that was really, really cute. I love that Sokka's like kind of giving in, and then obviously we had the great moment of Appa finally flying, and Sokka's beautiful like excitement was on his face, and he was like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, whatever.
No big deal. I see this all the time.
No big deal. If you could have, at least from what we've seen animal wise in the first 2 episodes, which animal would you want from the episodes?
Flying sky bison, no hesitation. No
Same.
hesitation at
Yeah.
all.
No hesitation at all.
Same?
Yeah. Oh, it's easy. It's
You guys
perfect.
wouldn't want to pay, like, what?
See, I want to say penguin, but I'm like, okay, like even out of all the like animals we know in the world,
Yeah, okay.
I still want a bison. I still want a bison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be the most convenient thing in the world to just
Right?
hop on
With
that thing
LA
and just fly
traffic
around.
too?
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
would solve all of my problems.
To fly.
But yeah, I think Appa's great. And
Yeah,
I
so our
just,
choices, we have got a bison, the lemur, or just penguins right now, right? Is that the
yeah,
only 3 so far?
so far, yes, I think
Yeah.
so. Unfortunately, I can't wait to meet the rest of them though. And
Ugh,
Elgin's gonna lose his mind when he sees all the different creatures. It's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
we've
gosh.
got
Oh
Starcloak in the
man.
chat right now. They agree. Sky
Yeah,
bison for sure.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, you really can't go wrong. I was just
Yeah.
curious to see if anybody would pick
Mhm.
the penguins and go sledding with the penguins. So, especially because I couldn't hear the last other animals that they said on those other islands that Aang wanted to go to. I have to write that down next time, but like it just looked like I was like, are they only on like certain parts or
Mhm.
they can't
Migrate?
yeah, I was like, what is this?
Hmm.
What is this? I don't like it. But anyway, I like that. Again, the fight was really cool. I loved all the choreography. The, both these episodes were great, and I think they were probably, I'm not going to say they're like the best of all time TV introductions in my book. I just
Mhm.
think that the balance of it and the characters and everything
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
wonderful. I think for kids and for adults. I feel. How do you guys feel about now both these episodes together?
Yeah, I think it definitely benefits to watch the 2 episodes back to back, especially since this is our first introduction to the world. It
Mhm.
definitely does help seeing these episodes together more to just help you piece everything together. Be like, oh, this is why this connects here.
Mhm.
These characters are clearly forming a group here. Instead of having to wait a week like we did when we were younger, it's just
Ugh.
it becomes a more concise picture, like right off the bat for you.
So frustrating.
What's for me is I don't know how or when I must have first started the series, but they did the first episodes as a special, and I remember watching. I remember this was all one episode, so when I
Mhm.
watched it back as episodically, I was like, oh, I thought this was all one big episode. Oh, that's interesting. But I like that though. I like these two are like how it should be seen together. You can't want to watch them separately. It's just gonna leave you too
Right.
confused.
That'd be
Yeah.
awful. What about you, Elgin?
I think my favorite thing, and now like watching these first 2 episodes, I know things are going to get more complex just from watching these 2 episodes because they're able to switch the atmosphere in the show very quickly and very seamlessly also. And I like how they're able to blend these different like the tension and like the
Mhm.
funny moments and
Mhm.
like the sincere moments all together at once. And I feel like a lot of shows don't get that right like today. And the fact that a show like this that's 15 years old
Mhm.
was able to do this, it's really cool. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to do that even more so with the transitionings in the show. So I'm really excited.
Oh my goodness. It's
Yeah.
so crazy to me that it's a 15-year-old show. I'm like, oh my God, you're in high school. Like, what?
Yeah, that's like
Get out of here. I was
yeah,
watching this
most
in
of my
high school.
life.
It's
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
But not to go completely off topic, I know
Mhm.
that we are going to be getting a live action of this series eventually on
Mhm.
Netflix, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to pan
Mhm.
out. Especially since I know, again, no shame on Eric, but like we all know how Last Airbender the movie went. So
Oh.
just saying.
I saw that one actually.
I like there was definitely moments I loved about that movie.
Mhm.
There were others, but we're not going to get into it because we're not doing a movie review. We're talking about the TV show. And I bet you Eric was studying in all of his stuff. So that's all that matters, at least to
Ah.
me.
I agree. I like to agree with that. I think I did pretty well for the scenes I was in.
Heck yeah, you did. I'm proud of you, buddy. I need to find it. I'm going to put. I know I have it somewhere. I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to look for you. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it's going to happen. But pretty much like I can't wait for Elgin to get through the rest of this. I wish I could watch with you, like
Yeah.
but it's okay. I can't wait to see what you think of these next coming episodes, especially
Yeah.
with all the next characters that are going to be coming out. Um, Eric, do you have any news and gossip for us at this moment?
Yeah, so I found a few more things. Since the show is so old, I was just going to bring you guys up to speed on a couple things that different actors have been doing so far. So right now, Mae Whitman, who you guys know as the voice of Katara, she was recently cast in the new TV series for Invincible, which is an Image comic adaptation. I believe it's going to be coming out sometime next year. They don't have an actual release date for it yet, but she has been announced that she will be part of the cast. She doesn't have a character name yet, so I'm very interested to see what she'll be doing there.
Mhm.
And then you can also find Jack DeSena, who is the voice of Sokka. He just recently wrapped working on The Dragon Prince on Netflix. And speaking of the live action show, one of the directors who directed about 19 episodes of this series, his name is Giancarlo Volpe. He was recently interviewed by Bustle, and they asked him, oh, with the new series coming out, what are you excited for? Do you have any hesitation? And he went on saying that he's very excited, but also kind of nervous for the show. He just doesn't know how it's going to transition, but he's very excited to see the whole, all of our favorite characters again. He just wants to see our characters treated properly the way that fans really want to see this well done.
Oh my goodness. That like made me a little emotional. Like, oh. Because it feels like you grew up with these characters, so it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
really close, you know.
Well, I wish I did.
I know it's okay because we're all gonna go through this together. Elgin, don't worry. Don't worry. It's
gonna be
okay.
even better for you now, Elgin.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
especially if like anybody who's, I mean, I know people who also haven't watched this series but have watched other anime, so they definitely see like anime tropes and like little things like that. So it's all good. So, since technically Elgin's the only one who hasn't seen the whole series, I would like to see predictions from you, good sir.
Okay. Well, I feel like Katara is gonna get better at waterbending.
Let's hope.
Nope, not all.
Sokka, I feel bad he doesn't have any bending. Maybe he will out of nowhere. Maybe, possibly.
Question mark. We'll never tell.
Well, obviously, Aang has to master all the elements now, right? So
That's the quest.
That's his job.
maybe he'll do that.
Watch, he does it. He's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Just
maybe
there,
not.
just there.
But hope there's not much of a show without it.
Nah. It's like, I give up. Airbending's cool. Bye.
Yeah, we're done.
Oh man, I'm so excited. What do you think about Zuko though?
Maybe he'll just go away.
Yeah, he just... Do you want a bigger baddie, or do you want just Zuko for the entire series?
Well, I feel like that would get stale. Like just one. You making me doubt myself. No, I feel like it would. I don't know. I think there needs to be multiple villains. Maybe it's some small villains and then the big ones. But we'll see. I guess.
I like where your head's
I'm
at.
on a journey.
I'm excited. Like, you have no idea. I'm like beaming from the other side over here because I love the fact that we're going through this like completely new. It like brings butterflies. I love it.
Wait.
Real quick, a few things from the chat. Step B said, "Can we talk about how amazing the soundtrack is?"
Yes.
It's such a good score. I was just recently listening to it a few days ago with some of my roommates down here, and it just fits so well. You wouldn't even think it was just for a kids animated TV series. You would think this would be for a huge blockbuster movie, how good this soundtrack is.
Yeah. See, I don't talk about it as often anymore because I made the mistake of making it my alarm. And we have a love-hate relationship now because I definitely love listening to it when I'm cleaning, and like it's just everything about the score in the show and so forth. Even in Legend of Korra, it's just it's absolute perfection. I love it. But that was my bad for making it my alarm because now I'm like, so. But yes, I think it's the one thing that you can definitely listen to whatever you're doing, and it just eases you in every way, shape, and form. I love it. I love it so much. And even just like, not to stray away completely, but just the animation, I felt like watching it now, it still aged well. You know what I mean? And all the fight choreography animation is really good, which if you didn't know that, obviously they rendered that off of actual martial artists, which is really really cool. So I love that, and just the aspect, especially as a martial artist myself, I like actually can recognize some of the movements, which is kind of cool. So I like that they actually took the time to do that. So it's just, again, it's one of those shows that I feel like, again, if you haven't gotten into it, that it's something that you can tell that the team, the voice actors, the animators, they all put a lot of hard work into it. And I feel like anybody could enjoy it, again, from like a 12-year-old to, like a 50-year-old, because it's just the right amount of fun and dark when it gets there. Journey.
We'll get some dark
cartoon.
moments.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm also like, I can't wait. I'm just plotting against Elgin right now because I'm just like, we're not ready for these 3 books, my friend. It is going to be so good. I don't have anything else. Does anybody want to add in something before we are out of here?
Yeah, we've got a few more people in the chat. We have Katie Fox saying that she feels the live action, it's either going to be really good or really bad. There's no in between.
Yeah, there's literally no in between.
Yeah, I really hope it's on the really good side.
Me too.
And then we also have Natalie saying that obviously production on the show has been halted because of COVID-19 right now.
Yes.
But they're saying that the original creators have free reign from Netflix to do anything that they want, and that she is hopeful. And we are all hopeful as well, Natalie. We really want this to work out well for this show.
Crossing our fingers.
Mm-hmm.
For real. And I am excited because I know that The Last Airbender should be, not the new one, but this actual series that we're recapping should be on Netflix soon because of the fact that they have the rights to it. So if you don't know where to watch it, there's a lot of platforms, but you'll definitely, if you have Netflix, it will be on there shortly, hopefully. We'll keep you updated on that for sure. Gunnar, Elgin, anything else? No?
I mean, I'm just excited. I'll be wearing blue next week to represent the water crowd.
I love it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And I'm excited to hear from all of you guys as well. Definitely let us know if you're watching it for the first time, watching it again with us. I would love to hear what you guys think and what you guys think Elgin will get really excited about, because I'm intrigued. Everybody tell where the fans can find you on the internet.
You can find me at Gunnar_Thomas88 on Instagram or GunnarThomas888 on Twitter.
You guys can follow me at EricJewell11 on Twitter. Tweet me your thoughts on the show. Throw out some predictions. Just if you want to chat about the show, I will be more than willing to talk to you guys about it.
And I only got Instagram, so you can find me on that.
Hey man, that's still something. That's still something. I love it.
It's Elgin_22.
All right, and you guys can follow me. We're all Alexis Torres are sold at atorres890 on Twitter, Snapchat, smoke signals, whatever. You can find me there at any moment. And I am ready to talk about everything and all things about this show because it's fantastic. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week for Chapter 3 and 4. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.